Hey everybody, my name is Patrick and I own MacDonald Timing, and today we're talking about computer choices. So the question, what computer should I use, is one of the first questions that I get asked when asked about doing training for people doing finished links and all that stuff. And the truth is, there's a couple of wrong answers and there's a bunch of right answers. And I will tell you straight out that I'm not going to tell you you should get this brand or this model or whatever, because computers are super subjective. And there's actually really good reason to take one path and go with it for as long as you can. And actually, I've been on that path for a long time and I have to diverge from it, and I'll explain that later. So, for the most part, what I recommend as follows. For a meat management computer, you just want a computer, typically with a RJ45 port, but that's even optional because dongles are pretty good. And you almost certainly want to have a numeric keypad on it. It would be great to have 16 gigs of RAM. You, of course, should probably have an SSD in it. It needs to have a relatively competent processor, but ultimately, there's a whole bunch of variation available. You can run pretty much whatever you want to for the meat management stuff. When it comes to a Lynx computer, though, I have a bunch of rules for it, and they are very specific, and I will not yield on some of them. So, in no particular order, it needs to have a 1080p 17-inch screen. It needs to have a full-size RJ45 port for Ethernet. It needs to have a numeric keypad. It needs to have SSDs, and ultimately, it really needs to be a gaming laptop. And I'll explain in a moment. So the 17-inch screen and the numeric keypad and even the SSD are kind of no big deals. Like, they just kind of make sense. The 17-inch screen might not be something that's like the real demand of a Lynx timer, but I think it just makes life a lot easier. The gaming laptop aspect of it, really that's about cooling. Where I am, it's quite warm. So I just want that extra cooling capacity. And I know there's some people out there like, oh, well, we love these ThinkPads or whatever, and we don't have cooling issues with them. That's fine. I just feel a lot more comfortable knowing that I've got a lot more airflow because I've got two massive fans on the inside of it. I don't care how much noise it makes. Like, noise is not an issue for me, so I'm fine with it. The thing that's going to really catch people out is the RJ45 issue. And it's going to be determinant based on what you primarily do. If you are primarily a road race timer, then having no RJ45 is just fine, or having a slimline RJ45, just fine. If you're a Lynx timer, though, you need on your main Lynx laptop a full-size RJ45 jack. You need one that looks just like this. And the problem is that several brands have started bringing out slimline RJ45s. And I can tell you, because I've used it, I've tested it, I've worked with it, they are not as good as a full-size RJ45. And that's why I'm moving away from a company that I've been buying laptops from. I've got probably 15 to 20 laptops from Dell over the last 20 years. I'm done with Dells. As far as the timing aspect goes, I'm moving away from them, which is a shame because when you buy a whole bunch of computers from one brand, you end up with a bunch of power bricks from one brand, and that's really, really helpful. I have tons of Dell bricks all over the place. If one of them fails, none of them have ever failed. I can go back to the van and go get one or two more or whatever I need. I've got them all over. I don't have to worry about making sure I pack one or whatever. Like, I know literally that I've got a couple of them in the van, no matter what, all the time. So for my kind of personal laptops, or my kind of work laptops that don't go on the road with me, I've been using MSIs for the last few years. I'm a particular fan of the one that I have in front of me. The Stealth is what it is. It's a 15-inch Stealth model. And so I have started to collect a number of MSI power adapters as well. And this past fall, I got a MSI, I think it's a GF75 or a GE75, 17 inches. It does have a plastic chassis, which is not my favorite thing, but ultimately it's really not that big of a deal. 17 inches with a full-size RJ45 jack on this side, and I'm going to get a bunch more of them. that way, myself and my crews, I know that they're going out with modern equipment that has all the things that they need in it, and we'll also have multiple adapters available for us. So that's where I'm going with it. And again, computers are a super personal thing. If sometimes you don't even have a choice with it. If you are a school administrator, school coach, or whatever, and you're doing this, you might not have a choice in what kind of hardware you're running. And unfortunately, the IT people at your school are probably going to grab that laptop as soon as it arrives and install a whole bunch of stuff on it that frankly you don't want to have on there, but you don't have a choice, so that's what it is. But if I'm you and you are like, all right, I can open my business and get anything that I want to, I would just tell you, make sure that you get a 17-inch screen on your primary Lynx laptop with the numeric keypad, which is pretty easy to do on 17 inches. And then make sure that you choose a relatively compatible media management computer as well, and you'd be good to go. It's just a lot easier to have everything have a full-size RJ45. I won't lie, it's just a lot easier. But my main advice is to pick a brand, pick an ecosystem to be in, and stay with that ecosystem. I'm not going to tell you that my choices of Dell and MSI are better than yours if you're choosing HP or Acer or whatever. Doesn't matter. Choose a brand and try to stick with that brand, because the power adapter, modularity is really helpful. It's really important, and it'll just make life easier for you in the long run. So, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And remember, time is luck. We'll see you next time.